Welcome back to the show. Now, Richard, tell me about the flashlight that you brought with you.
This was my own answer to the confusion of science. One of the things that I'd read early on when I was trying to understand the science myself was that the additional radiative forcing, the effect of having a third more CO2 in the atmosphere, was equivalent to 1.6, almost 1.7 watts per square meter.
Okay.
And you say, okay, like it's meaningful, and I have no idea. I mean, I originally had no idea what it meant. What's a watt? I mean, a watt is a joule per second of energy. We are at this moment. We asked the people around us in the break. We're bathed in more than 2,000 watts of light energy right now. How do you separate a watt per square meter? Well, I was riding home on my bicycle one day, having just changed my batteries, and I realized that my bicycle light is a 1 watt light. Okay. So this is a watt. So if you imagine 1.7 of these applied over the course of the whole Earth. I mean, this is the impact of this. That's how much additional radiative energy is embraced, is trapped in the Earth's atmosphere as a result of the extra CO2.
Interesting, very interesting. Now, Richard, you've brought us quite an intriguing line of thought. Now, we talk about evidence-based, right? So, what sort of evidence do you have to back up your line of thought?
Thank you for that, because what I hope, people talk about being climate change skeptics, and what I hope is that everyone will be a skeptic about climate change. Everyone will be completely skeptical, that they will be equally skeptical of what I say and what the other guys say, and that they'll check my sources. Okay. And that, even more importantly, they'll check their sources.
Of course.
In terms of the evidence that we have, and this, you could read the whole book, but I find the most compelling bits of evidence were the early strategy documents that were created to say, hey, I've got a great idea, let's lie about climate change. Okay. And that's not quite what the strategy document says. What it says is, let's tell people that climate change isn't happening, isn't caused by people, might be a good thing. So the Western Fuels Association, which is the American Association of coal-fired electricity producers, coal-fired power plants are the biggest source of CO2 in the United States, which itself is the biggest point source. The US is the second largest producer of greenhouse gas emissions in the world. So the Western Fuels Association in 1992 came up with a plan to try to convince people to doubt climate science. Philip Morris, thanks to a PR company called APCO Worldwide, came up with what was basically a climate change denial strategy in 1993. They wanted to start denying climate change and the dangers of nuclear waste and the dangers of DDT, because as long as they were only denying the danger of smoking, nobody was taking them seriously. They thought that if they started to deny, if they could set up an arm's length organization, this thing called the Advancement of Sound Science Coalition, and denied all kinds of science, that you could undermine public faith in science generally, and that would work to their advantage. Okay. In 1997, the American Petroleum Institute started another strategy document, same thing. They said, let's hire scientists and tell them what to say and train them up, give them media training, and then every time we see a story in the newspaper that says climate change is happening and it's a problem, we can get one of our scientists to send in a newspaper story saying, maybe it's not a problem. Okay. So I'm not making this up, and I would challenge anybody who is even a little bit skeptical of that to check that out. Okay. Because I am rock solid certain on my sources, and would be happy to be, the fact that this book has been out for almost a year, 6 months. Okay. And we've had nary a letter from an oil company lawyer suggests that they're pretty confident on my sources as well.
Perfect. And the sources are available in your book?
Everything is footnoted to an nth degree. I mean, we've been extraordinarily careful, and if you go to the DSMOG blog too, we link Every time we say, and when you say that somebody like Fred Singer, the Dr. S. Fred Singer, who's been in the denial business for 30 years, has lied about taking money from ExxonMobil, you can't say that unless you can prove it.
Of course.
He was silly enough to put his claim in writing in a letter to the Washington Post at a time when ExxonMobil showed him on their website as a recipient. So it was an unfortunate lie. But yeah, we're very careful to make sure that that you can back up that we've backed up everything we've said.
Okay. Now, Richard, what do you think would save us today? Where do we go from here?
Only activism, in a way. And I'm not sure what exactly the social tipping point will be.
Okay.
But we need a critical mass of people who understand the problem, who are sufficiently concerned about the problem that they are taking action in their own lives, and who demand from government similar action.
Okay.
So you can't fix this, and I can't fix this alone. We need to work together, and we need everybody to work together.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that the little things that you do aren't incredibly important. So if you go home and you're seen by your neighbors to be taking this issue seriously, they will understand you as a leader. And they'll start to take the issue seriously as well. So it goes beyond changing to compact fluorescent light bulbs and recycling and buying smaller cars and maybe moving closer to your workplace, or all of those things need to be components of of the big change. But the very act of change, and particularly a willingness to discuss it, a willingness to challenge people who are saying silly things about it, just that sense of bringing that sense of sort of day-to-day passion or day-to-day commitment to what you do will ultimately, I think, inspire your neighbors. And we don't have to inspire 90% of the people. I'm not sure what the tipping point number is. I'm not sure how many people have to really care about this issue before our government will start to react. But it's a few more than are concerned now.
Okay.
And I personally am convinced that for every person who truly understands this issue, who takes the little bit of time that's necessary to understand the issue, it will have a marvelous effect, a marvelous roll-on effect emanating out to the people around them, and that's where the solution lies.
Richard, within this industry of climate change, in your opinion, what would be the total percentage of people that you feel authentically understand climate change?
In the whole world, you mean, or
yeah, in total.
Who actually understand climate change? I don't have any statistics on that.
Okay.
Certainly, the number of people who think they understand climate change, or even who even believe in climate change, is in fact going down.
Okay.
The Yale and the Pew Center for Research in the States both did research on this last year. They've been tracking it over time. And in the 18 months ending in October, the number of people who thought that the climate was changing had gone down from 71% to 57% in the United States.
Okay.
The number of people who thought that humans were responsible had gone down, I think, from 46% to 39%. This at a time when the evidence is becoming more obvious and the scientific certainty is becoming more clear.
So I'm confused. Why would that number be going down?
Because, I mean, the bad guys are winning.
Okay.
the people who want us to doubt are spending more time, more energy, and are working more effectively than us, than me, at least, I suppose, at convincing people that it's still something that they may not have to worry about. And as well, there was a nice bump in the number of people who were concerned about climate change after Katrina, after the big hurricane that devastated New Orleans. Nothing like that has happened for a couple of years.
Okay.
So that kind of a big image, again, a weather event, not a climate event, that kind of a big image really captures people's attention and gives them something to look at to say, wow, that could be the way of the future. We need to be concerned about that.
Okay.